Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to Gunsnbbq. So today was a congressional committee vote on red flag laws. Did you watch it? Let's check it out.
Perfect.
So there was a congressional committee vote today on red flag laws. It was party line, went, as you expected, ended up making it through with only one amendment. I watched it over on Guns and Gadgets channel. It was, I don't know, something like 3-4 hour long stream that he had on there. But nonetheless, I was able to watch it there. And there was some good stuff in there with some back and forth between Dems and Republicans. However, there is one thing that I really wanted to show you folks that if you missed this would really be worth watching, and that is Representative Victoria Spartz. She is Ukraine immigrant who is now a congresswoman, I believe, in the 5th district of Indiana. And, well, I'll just shut up and let you watch and see what she says. So here you go.
Ms. Spartz, to seek recognition.
Just write the last word.
Gentlelady is recognized.
Thank you. I was listening to this discussion, and I grew up in totalitarian country where individuals didn't have rights. Law-abiding individuals didn't have rights and didn't have rights to own guns. And that's actually the first thing that totalitarian country under Stalin did, to take people from law-abiding citizens to guns. So only two groups of people had guns. It was the police and bandits. And the Soviet government used police, and if they couldn't to suppress people, then they used bandits on people. And that is what suppression is. So this right empowers as an individual, and it's a very important right. And this is a very important discussion to have. If we talk about, red flag laws, Indiana had them since 2005, and I'm not going to point out how bad provisions of this law I think my colleagues did. We put with due processes, with proper processes, the laws, not really overreaching as this bill, not really federalizing. But unfortunately, if it would be that easy, we could prevent, crimes, but laws do not prevent crimes. We had, school shootings. We had just recently a FedEx facility shooting. So it's not going to stop, unfortunately, bad people that are going to try to do bad things. But if we're going to have a legitimate cases, we're going to help people, we have to respect constitutional right, and this bill doesn't do it. But talking about violence, if we're going to talk about violence, Indianapolis has some of the highest crime rates in the country. So definitely doesn't have with violence. But if we're going to talk about violence and anarchy, why don't we talk about what's happened in our border, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and lawlessness and anarchy on this border, which increases violence in a lot of cities. Why are we talking about not defunding the police and vaccine mandates on policemen that a lot of people now live in the police force? That is increased violence in these cities. Why are we talking about only a third of our children and can read and write by grade 10, and a lot of cities and urban communities, only tens of children can do that. That has created a lot of problems and violence. Why don't we talk about issues that really create violence and why we have this increase in violence, not trying to take rights from law-abiding citizens and suppress? Because unfortunately, our government, now FBI using warrantless surveillance, Department of Justice intimidate parents at school board meetings. We have IRS going to be collecting information people. We're becoming like a surveillance state, like a totalitarian regime. And that breaks my heart to see that. So I think we need to have a serious discussion about what we can do to reduce violence. And a lot of them actually happen in the Democrat-run cities, but we need to help them. And I represent one of the cities. I want to be helpful, but let's have serious discussion and protect rights, constitutional rights of individuals, and write these laws that they don't infringe on our rights, because this is the only difference between our country and any other country in the world. That's why people want to come here. We're the greatest country in the world because people have the most freedom protected by our constitution. And the only function we legislators have, that people gave us right to be here, to protect their rights to life, liberty, and property. That is the only reason. You know, people gave us the right to be here, and we have to think, how do we protect their rights, not infringing their constitutional rights? And it's extremely important discussion to have, but unfortunately, we cannot have this discussion right now because no one wants to have a serious discussion. You know, we have a lot of drama, but this is a pure infringement. And the way how this bill is written, it's infringement on people's rights. And we cannot be the government of suppression. We have to be the government of liberties and freedoms. And I hope my colleagues can work on some of this issue, how we can make sure that our future generation can experience this great country as our previous generations. And I yield back. Yeah, I yield.
When the gentle lady said that in the totalitarian country she left, the only people who had guns were bandits and government, reminded me of the saying that the police can be there in minutes when seconds count. But if you look at the democratic-controlled cities that have defunded the police, it's now hours before the police are there. I think it's ironic that in those democratically controlled cities and states, officials have released dangerous criminals back onto our streets. They've refused to prosecute crimes. They've reduced police forces. They've refused to deport criminal illegal aliens, instead releasing them back into our neighborhoods. And while doing all of this, at the same time, they seek to make it harder and riskier for law-abiding citizens to maintain the means of protecting themselves. I find that ironic, curious, and disturbing. And I thank the gentlelady for you.
The time of the gentleman, whoever had of the gentleman has expired.
I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Please hit those like, comment, share, and subscribe buttons, and I'll catch y'all next time.